First in high definition from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
We're tracking breaking news out of Virginia Beach. Police are on the scene of a shooting. The victim in this case is just a 4-year-old child.
This is unfolding right now on Buckhorn Place in the Salem Lake section of the city. And Chopper 10's John Massey is high above the scene there. John, what can you tell us?
Well, right now the information is just now coming in, but apparently the call went out shortly after 4 o'clock this afternoon of a shooting here at the 3800 block of Buckhorn Place in Virginia Beach. Now what we're learning right now is that there was an accidental shooting, is what it's being reported as, but a 4-year-old child was hit. Now at the time the police arrived on scene, the child was stable and talking, and he has since been transported to the local area hospital for treatment. We don't have an official word on his condition right at the moment, but you can see police officers on scene at the home conducting the investigation to try to determine exactly how this accidental shooting happened and just how a 4-year-old was shot this afternoon in Virginia Beach.
All right, that's John Massey reporting from above Buckhorn Place in the Salem Lakes neighborhood. A 4-year-old child shot, apparently by accident. He's on his way to the hospital now.
Look for the latest here and on WAVY.com.
Well, 10 on your side is getting answers about how 2 women walked into 6 Virginia Beach daycares and elementary schools and then left with cash and credit cards.
The incidents happened over the last 3 months. Bayside Elementary was hit in November. In December, Thorogood and Providence Elementary schools were hit. Also La Petite Academy. Then in January, Pocahontas Preschool and the Children's Center of Kempsville. 10 on your side's Melanie Woodrow has details.
You can see the women in these surveillance pictures, this one taken at Bayside Elementary, another at Thorogood Elementary. Virginia Beach school spokesperson Eileen Cox says the women would say they wanted to register their children. Pass in hand, they'd wander, entering classrooms, offices, and libraries, taking cash and credit cards.
It kind of bothers me to have my son come to an establishment of learning and then have 2 strange women just walk around. I mean, what exactly is security?
Cox says the women were stopped at security but given that pass under false pretenses. From there, she says the women should have gone to the main office but did not. At the Children's Center of Kempsville,
they came in the front door here and came into my office, and we talked about the school.
Director Marcia White says one woman asked to use this restroom. As she showed the other around, someone stole her camera, cash, and a credit card. White says she did not notify parents about the January 10th incident.
I didn't want the parents to be alarmed because it just really personally affected me.
Eileen Cox with Virginia Beach Schools says they didn't notify parents about the incidents at Bayside, Thorogood, or Providence elementary schools. She says it was a simple property crime and students and staff were not in danger.
In this incident, maybe. That doesn't mean in other cases it could have been a different outcome than what happened here. I feel it's still my right to know as a parent that I should have been notified.
10 on your side learned the women may have hit a 7th location. We called Child Time Learning Center's Pleasant Valley Road location, and the assistant daycare director confirmed a similar incident, then directed us to corporate communications. When we called police, a spokesperson said they had no record of it. Child Time's corporate communications has not responded. Earlier this month, Virginia Beach police say 2 men stole several laptops from a classroom at Lynn Haven Elementary. These are photos of the suspects. If you recognize them, call the crime line.
As you can see, it commands attention whenever it's shown. Melanie's report and the story you just heard, both examples of criminals caught on camera or caught on tape, as we often say. Here is another crime vignette recorded by surveillance. 2 guys robbing a convenience store in Newport News. 10 on your side appeals for your help in crimes like this every day. But do your tips and these grainy images really help police?
We've had it where their faces are completely covered and somebody says, I know him. I know the way he walks. I know how he carries himself. I know who that is.
I recently spent some time with detectives going over scenes, including this one, and at 6, you'll see what kind of impact surveillance video and your tips have on solving crimes like this. And next at 5:30, protecting your property with tips from a surveillance expert.
Police are investigating a school bus crash in Hampton. It happened at this intersection, at the intersection of Aberdeen Road and 56th Street. We're told EMS crews took several children to the hospital as a precautionary measure. There was only minor damage to the school bus and no word on what school that bus was from or what caused the accident. A grand jury did not indict a Portsmouth police officer involved in a deadly shooting. Police were responding to a report about an intruder last April when they found 26-year-old Kirill Denyakin of Kazakhstan. They say he lunged towards an officer. That officer fired his weapon 11 times. Police later said Denyakin didn't have a gun. Today, the Commonwealth's attorney told 10 on Your Side the grand jury's decision will end the criminal investigation. The victim's family is filing a $22 million civil lawsuit against the Portsmouth Police Department.
3 death investigations in Portsmouth. We have new information on 2 of them. Police identified the victim in a Port Norfolk homicide. She's 41-year-old Anne-Marie Gilkerson of Suffolk. Her body was found inside a home on Broad Street. Detectives will tell us that she suffered trauma, but are not releasing any more details. And this is what a 10 on Your Side camera captured a short time ago on Broad Street. Police say they were checking vehicle registration and IDs, and it had nothing to do with the homicide investigations. By the way, officers issued 17 summons for a variety of vehicle violations. Police say that this SWAT standoff in Portsmouth ended with a man taking his own life. A deputy was about to serve a civil court warrant at a home on River Cove in the Cavalier Forest neighborhood when he heard a gunshot. SWAT responded, closed off the area and went inside. Police say that's where they found 58-year-old Willard Green dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
President Obama says it's one step in the search for justice after the collapse of the housing market. Virginia and North Carolina are among the 49 states that are part of a $25 billion settlement with mortgage lenders over foreclosure abuses. Bank of America, J.P. Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and Ally Financial made the big deal. 10 on Your Side, Steve Handelsman breaks down details.
It won't fix the mortgage mess, but today's huge settlement will compensate families who lost their homes and help others avoid foreclosure. President Obama is cracking down on what many see as villains of the housing crisis and recession.
America's biggest banks, banks that were rescued by taxpayer dollars, will be required to right these wrongs.
5 banks made the $25 billion deal after revelations they phonied paperwork to speed evictions. Over 3 years, they'll reduce the principal and modify the mortgages of delinquent borrowers. They'll refinance at today's low rates homeowners who are underwater, owing more than their homes are worth. And they'll pay $2,000 in cash to 750,000 Americans who lost their homes.
Does it hold the banks accountable for all the damage that they've done to our economy and they've done to American homeowners and communities? Not even close. But it's a good start.
It's a restart for bipartisanship. The Obama administration worked with 49 state attorneys general. Half are Republicans.
We are using this opportunity to fix a broken system and to lay the groundwork for a better future.
New rules protect families facing foreclosure.
No more lost paperwork, no more excuses, no more runaround.
But the settlement cannot fix what Valley Jones faced. 7 families lost their homes on the Chicago street where she'd lived for 36 years. Today's crackdown cannot bring back a neighborhood.
And it does not apply to and will not help roughly half of U.S. homeowners whose mortgages are held by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News, Washington.
Virginia and home borrowers in the state will receive more than $479 million in relief from the settlement. North Carolina and its homeowners will receive $338 million. Oklahoma is the only state that did not agree to the deal. Now, if your mortgage is through one of the banks that are part of this settlement, you can find out if you qualify for relief by contacting them. You'll find the phone numbers on WAVY.com. You'll also find an interactive timeline of events about the nationwide mortgage deal and more details about the settlement.
We continue to follow breaking news in Virginia Beach. Chopper 10 above the scene in Buckhorn Place in the Salem Lakes neighborhood where a 4-year-old child was shot and is on its way to the hospital. A well-known restaurant owner, a former Virginia Tech quarterback, and 2 uniformed service members. Those were just a few of the men arrested in a prostitution bus. At 5:30, how police tracked them down. A 7-year-old girl fights back. Her escape from a suspected attempted kidnapper was caught on tape, and you'll hear from the young victim. But first, avoiding an IRS audit. We're on your side, helping you avoid the mistakes that catch the attention of the tax man.
Looks beautiful out there, and with lots of sunshine, it felt a little bit warmer than it really was. We only warmed on up into the upper 40s for most of the region for today. It's going to warm up further, though, for tomorrow. We'll tell you about that, and then we'll tell you about the weekend. We'll tell you about it in just a few minutes.
By now, you should have all of the documentation to start working on your taxes. And tax experts say the IRS is stepping up efforts to catch any money-making mistakes. We're on your side with some of the audit triggers you can avoid. The biggest mistake is inaccurate numbers, especially if you do your taxes yourself. Decimal points in the wrong spot or too many zeros can raise a red flag. Make sure all of your income is reported. This is especially true if you contract work for a variety of companies or odd jobs that may provide one-time or short-term paychecks. Also, the IRS will be looking to make sure your deductions are appropriate for your income. Don't claim anything you cannot prove. People can overvalue non-cash charitable donations.
We're on your side if you have questions about your taxes. Every week on WAVY News 10 Midday, we have something we call Tax Tuesday. Live guests from Jackson Hewitt will answer your questions, and we have a live chat with a tax expert every Tuesday from 12:30 to 1:30 on WAVY.com. You'll also find helpful tax tips, tax links, and those downloadable forms, and there's plenty of them, aren't there, on WAVY.com. New tonight at 5:30, 10 on your side continues our investigation into Mo money taxes, why some customers have been able to cash their checks and why some still haven't.
Some Kodak moments are coming to an end. The company's getting out of the camera business. We're on your side with what Kodak is doing for customers who still use its products to capture memories.
And surveillance cameras roll as a 7-year-old girl escapes a kidnapping attempt inside a Walmart. Why police say it's a good idea for you to watch this video with your child.
An update now on that breaking news we told you at the top of the newscast. Virginia Beach police are on the scene of a shooting. The victim is a 4-year-old child.
And Chopper 10's John Massey is flying above Buckhorn Place in the Salem Lake section of the city. What do you know, John?
Yes, Tom, good afternoon. What happened here this afternoon is being ruled an accidental shooting by the police department. That's the good news. Unfortunately, it does involve a 4-year-old child who was struck in the hip by a large caliber weapon, is what police are telling us. Now, the call originally went out for assistance shortly after 4 o'clock. When police officers arrived on scene, the child was awake and talking and was at that point transported to the hospital for treatment. But again, we're being told right now, it was a large caliber weapon in the hip of a 4-year-old, so that is classified as a life-threatening injury. We do not have any condition on the child at this point, but right now police remain on scene conducting their investigation, and at this point it is being ruled accidental. How the child got shot or who shot, we don't know that yet. We've got ground crews on the way to the scene that'll bring us some more information just as soon as that becomes available. I'm John Massey reporting up the scene in Virginia. WAVY News 10.
All right, thank you, John. A 7-year-old fought off a suspected kidnapper inside a Walmart in Georgia.
He just grabbed me, and I was screaming and kicking him, and he just dropped me and ran off.
Brittany Baxter calmly telling you what happened. It was all caught on tape, and 10 on your side, Stephanie Harris has that video queued up. Steph?
Yeah, Tom, here's the setup now. The little girl was just looking at toys. Her mom was a couple of aisles over picking up some fruit. When? Let's take a look at what happens. This man comes walking through. Look, he's already got her in his arms right there, but look at 7-year-old Brittany. She is kicking, she is fighting back, and that gets him to stop, drop her, and take off. What Brittany did right there, what she just did, possibly saved her life. And now, here's how it could save your child's life, too.
It happened so fast. A man grabbed Brittany Baxter and started to walk away, but the second grader fought back.
I was just like kicking like this, trying to kick as hard as I can.
He had his hand over her mouth.
I think I said help when I was screaming.
It worked. He quickly dropped her and ran off. Surveillance cameras outside the store caught him getting into his car, and an hour later, police arrested 25-year-old Thomas Woods, who is on parole for a manslaughter conviction.
I didn't touch anybody, it didn't bother nobody, I was never there.
10 on Your Side went to Safety Town in Portsmouth, where Officer Jim Martin teaches kids about stranger danger.
She did exactly right.
He says this is a great example for parents to show their kids. Tell them to act just like Brittany and scream the word fire.
If a kid screams, it's just, people think it's just a disorderly kid. Fire, everybody's going to look.
He says it's a lesson that can't be taught too often.
My school taught me, like, when somebody's trying to get you, you try to get away and then go tell somebody that you trust.
Great advice from young Brittany. Now, if you would like to take Officer Martin's advice and show your children this video here as a teaching tool, just go to WAVY.com and click on this story. Stephanie Harris, 10 on Your Side.
And by the way, the man arrested in this case, Thomas Woods, could make his first court appearance tomorrow.
Now, in high definition, your Super Dot for 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
I've been promising all week that we're going to see this air that's up into Canada really hit us coming up for the weekend, and it's starting to make its move already. Here's what's going on. You can see way on up into Canada. What's that mean for us? Well, it means we're going to get the cold air. It's already dropping on down into the Dakotas and northern Minnesota, where it's down to about 20 degrees, but it's really just entering there, and it's not really anywhere on this map. For example, we've got 44 degrees. It's a little cooler today. We'll see some warm air briefly, but that's ahead of that very cold air that's going to be dropping in out of Canada. Now we take a closer look at what's going on with our temperatures. Basically 44 to 48, a little cooler right now in Melfa, and that's been the story. Lots of sunshine for today. Now we do have some cloud cover that's going to start to move on in, and here's where things are right now. Now we've got a weekend cold blast. That's a really big story over the next several days. Few thin clouds out there, not too much more than that, and we'll start to see the clouds really increase during the day for tomorrow. Here's where we are tomorrow morning at 7. A light southwesterly wind at 5 to 10 miles an hour, and the clouds will move in by the end of the day. A few clouds in the middle of the day. Light southerly wind at 10 miles an hour. There are the clouds by the end of the day tomorrow, and we're likely to see rain move on in. There's where things are at the midnight hour on Friday night, Saturday morning, midnight, light southerly wind. Temperature not too bad yet. We'll get a real solid shot of rainfall during the overnight hours. Here's where we are at 4 o'clock in the morning. Winds flipping over to the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. There's where we are at 7 o'clock in the morning. A light northerly wind at 10. But most of the daylight hours really rain-free. It'll be a little on the chilly side during the day on Saturday, and windy as well. 15 to 25 mile an hour winds in the middle of the day. And then we'll start to see the really cold air hit just a little bit later on toward the dinner hour, and as a matter of fact, we could even see a few flakes of snow with that toward the dinner hour on Saturday. Here's where we are as far as rainfall. Most of this is going to fall overnight tomorrow night into early Saturday morning. Half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, perhaps an inch and a quarter into parts of eastern North Carolina, and we'll end the day on Saturday again with just a couple of flakes of snow as that really cold air enters the picture. Today, a little on the chilly side, but not too much wind by the afternoon hours, so things were fairly pleasant, a little cool. 44, 45 right now, 47 was our high temperature for the day, 45, 46, 48. So again, we're going to get chilly overnight with our skies remaining mostly clear. It's already into the mid-40s, so we'll drop on down overnight to around 31 degrees, and during the day tomorrow, 57. But look at this for Saturday. We'll see some morning rain, and again, we could see a few flakes of snow coming up at the end of the day on Saturday. Look at the high temperature by Sunday, only 40 degrees, rather breezy and cold coming up for the weekend.
Single cup coffee makers are very popular, especially around the office and for people on the go. And they're making a big impact on the environment. The cost of convenience, straight ahead.
And next at 5:30, the latest from a Charlottesville courtroom where a former UVA lacrosse player is on trial for the murder of his ex-girlfriend. You may love those one-cup coffee makers from Keurig, but But those K-cups, as they're called, they're adding up in landfills because they can't be recycled. The plastic cups themselves could be recycled, but there's more to these capsules than meets the eye. The plastic cup is lined with a heat-sealed paper filter and topped with lined aluminum foil.
In this configuration with the paper fused to it and the foil glued to the top, it's just not an easy thing to do. It's impractical, if not impossible, to be able to try to recycle this thing.
Altogether, I guess it's a problem. And on its website, Keurig says that it is looking for greener alternatives. There are also refillable plastic cups available from Solo Fill or Eco Brew that can make those single-use coffee makers a little more environmentally friendly.
The company that invented the digital camera is getting out of the camera business. Eastman Kodak says it's changing focus and will stop making digital cameras, pocket video cameras, and digital frames. The company says it's focusing on the main money makers like photo printing and desktop printers. The company will honor product warranties and provide technical support for the discontinued products. Kodak filed for bankruptcy protection last month. The changes are expected to save the company more than $100 million.
Talk about irony. And terrifying moments here. Caught on tape. See what happens when a subway train goes off the rails.
Then at 5:30, a live update to the breaking news we've been following since the top of this newscast. A 4-year-old child accidentally shot in Virginia Beach.
Mic check, 1, 2, check, check.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Test check, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you, Ava.
Roger that. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Security cameras often capture real moments of terror, like this subway train in Chile. It went off the tracks and into parked cars and to an apartment building during a test run. No passengers were on board, thank goodness, and the train's driver only got minor bruises. Residents of the building say it's a miracle no one was hurt, especially since there's a playground nearby. Stay with us. WAVY News 10 at 5:30 starts right now.